Sounds
Hello, Jessica.
Hi, Lauren.
We're in a little bit of a different setup.
Yeah, you could say that again.
We're spending that money, girl.
You gotta spend money to make money.
hopefully one day on our podcast.
That's the goal.
Okay, so tonight we're going to be talking about Salt Lake City, Real Housewives of Salt Lake
Yes.
City, and Real Housewives of OC.
Yep.
Dubai's done. We're not hitting below deck, thank God.
But next week, New York starts.
Oh,
so that'll
great.
be
We'll
in
add
the
that
road.
in.
Oh my God, this week it starts.
Okay,
Okay, that's getting in the rotation next week then.
we have to. All right, so let's go to Salt Lake City as our first kind of step in all of this. So we start and they've just had this horrible dinner where they've all ganged up on Whitney, right?
Yes.
And I love this because they show us like kind of small clips of all the housewives. They're doing their thing. The one I want to stop on and talk to you about is Mary and her son, Robert Jr.
Yes.
He's such a weirdo, Jessica.
Well, yeah, she even said it. It's my fault. He is so sheltered.
Okay, but I went down a deep dive on him.
Oh,
so
no.
she
Is he
tells-
still married?
Yes.
Oh.
Jessica, he got married to a 16-year-old when he was 19. This was like never publicized. I went down a dark wormhole on this.
She
I wanted
was
to talk to
kind
you
of
about it.
on it. I didn't realize she was that young. They showed her because they were living in Mary's house.
Yes, and he not only did he marry a 16-year-old, he was 19 at the time. They've been married for 2 years, but he
Isn't
also
that illegal?
maybe not in Utah,
Maybe not.
but they've also posted a ton on social media about doing a ton of drugs.
Oh, okay.
So he's gotten in trouble with the law multiple times. So when Mary starts off and says, "Oh, my son Robert lives at home,"
Yeah.
it's because he's not getting a job.
Yeah, because she mentioned he's not in school. He doesn't work.
No.
And then she's like, it's probably my fault for
No.
sheltering him.
There's a variety of problems going on. Not just that.
Mary is too on her frickin' high horse to have a son with that many issues.
And
the way
that-
she judges everybody else, I hate that.
I totally agree. That's what Reddit was saying. They're like, you have to be kidding me that she's coming after others about their kids.
Right.
And then she's got Robert
Yeah.
with his own problems.
Yeah, I mean, he's always given me a little ick every scene he's been in, like a little creeper vibe.
Something's going on there.
Something's off.
Now, I will say with Mary, I did check into this as well. She was supposed to be getting divorced this season.
Yeah.
She shut that down.
That's
so
been called
I don't
off.
know we're going to see that. But I had to bring up the Robert Jr. of it all because he's
Grandpa?
just such a weirdo.
Grandpa's still around.
So we move from Robert and Mary, and then we're now with Lisa Browin and Heather in the car ride. Jessica, what are they doing? They're going to
Or
Wendy's.
your favorite product placement.
Did you catch that? Lisa didn't even know how to get to Wendy's.
Yeah.
Asked for navigation.
That wasn't good product placement. You need to know exactly where the Wendy's is.
When they got in the car to go to Wendy's, I was like, you have to be kidding me. Hopefully Bravo's getting a kickback on that.
Like, I truly believe she eats that, but you cannot tell me that Bronwyn eats Wendy's.
No.
You can't.
And Heather Gay with her Ozempic. It's like
Right.
she had 2 bites of that French
I'm
fry.
full.
Yeah, in the back.
Did you catch Heather's outfit?
No, what was it?
Well, she then posted on social media a photo of herself like in the mirror. I think she was like waiting to get picked up. These like extremely baggy cargo pants and this leopard button down top. I was like, what is this outfit?
I mean, it is a good point. Like, so Salt Lake, I always feel like has good
Yeah.
fashion. Angie rocking some weird stuff.
Yeah.
It's all very flamboyant. It
Yeah.
feels like a little H&M-y.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if we're
and-
looking at high fashion or not. I can't
No.
tell.
Bronwyn and Mary will be designer always.
Right.
But the rest,
Unclear.
I don't think so.
Yeah, a little
Maybe Meredith.
a little Revolve, you know.
Little Sheen.
Yeah, Sheen's in there somewhere. So they're sitting in the car.
Mm-hmm.
This is where we start to see Bronwyn for her. I don't even know how to say her name. Bronwyn.
Bronwyn. You don't remember Bronwyn from OC?
Yeah, vaguely.
She spelled it differently, but
Vaguely. I mean, this
the
girl,
only two
though-
Bronwyns I've ever heard of in my life were both Real Housewives.
Right. This girl, though, I feel like is forgetting there's a camera around.
Good.
I know.
I like that.
Good TV.
Yeah.
But she's so two-faced with how she's speaking about like,
oh, yeah. Yeah.
Whitney and then jumping to Whitney, and it's caught all
And
on
it's
camera.
Very different than what she said to Lisa.
Yeah. I'm like, there's cameras in the car, Brown. Do you not remember that?
No, I love it though. I love a first season housewife that doesn't seem to know how to act.
Be on TV.
Yeah.
I do appreciate too, Heather's coming in pretty strong on like, I'm not sure about this.
Mhm.
seems like she's coming in too hot for not knowing people. I appreciate that. I think that's good self-awareness for Heather.
She has been, she said, because I've been burned by that before. So she's learning.
We get a glimpse of Browen's two-facedness and Wendy's, and then we jump immediately to Meredith and Seth in their cooking class.
Oh, yeah.
That's good. This was like, I wanted to move past it so fast. It was so cringy.
Do you not like Seth?
I do like him. I think
like
that
him
Meredith,
as a housewife's husband.
I think he's very fun. I think Meredith is struggling for a storyline.
Oh, yeah.
Validated by the fact that she's going to get bar mitzvahed.
I know.
What did you think on that? I was like,
I saw a lot of hate. Everyone's like, oh, this is so interesting, your timing. And they think like to bring all the politics into
she's
it.
Trying to lean in.
Yeah. And then she, of course, posted, that is not at all what I'm doing. Like, this is my religion. And I just want to, do something I never did as a child.
I don't think it's politics. I think she's grasping at what to do this season.
So she can throw a big party.
Right.
Yeah. It's a good idea, though. What did you catch, though, too, that like her husband, again, he's based out of Columbus.
Mm-hmm.
What does he do? She's like, he has another new job.
So I did some research on this.
Okay, I love that you deep dive in. Yeah.
First of all, LinkedIn, like no one just looks at LinkedIn.
Where does he work?
I'm on all these people's LinkedIns. He's what's called a turnaround CEO. So he joins companies for 2 years. He turns them around and then he moves on.
Okay.
So it makes total sense that he
is always at a new
spot.
Okay.
And he's often really, really high up, SVP, CEO, that type of thing.
Okay.
And I think the location is very variable, but he's like known to be like the flipper, get them out of a reorg, whatever. So
okay.
I think he's actually quite successful at that.
Yeah. They seem to be truly well off.
Right.
And like, I think her business does well. It's not I'm a rich lady starting.
Which one?
Meredith. Her jewelry.
Jessica, that dusty ass jewelry. That's not.
Think Meredith Marks
doing well.
Jewelry.
No, the cobweb
celebrity
jewelry.
Clients.
Jessica.
I think she makes a bit. You think you just think it's him funding it all.
Yeah, and her business loses $10,000 a month, and he's like, don't worry.
But it's a passion project for her. Keeps her busy when she's not having plastic surgery.
I wanted to bring up with you about her lips. They look a lot better.
They've toned down.
I think when you get the fillers, then the swelling goes down a little bit. Looking back on that shot in the bed, they were fully lined. They were fresh off the injector.
She didn't know how to like do the makeup yet on them. She was going overboard.
Yes. Yeah. So I guess it looks a lot better, I would think.
Yes.
Okay, so we move off of Seth and Meredith and we move to Lisa and Angie's lunch.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that.
I didn't realize that Lisa and Angie were going to be at odds so early on in the season.
Because they seemed like so tight previous season.
I agree. Yeah. And you can tell it's like, it's jarring even for them. Like Lisa's expecting apology from Angie. Angie's expecting apology from Lisa. It's just like, it's awkward to be around them.
Yeah.
And then Lisa abruptly leaves. I mean,
the only thing I noted from that is that Lisa can't say the word frustrated.
Jessica, I was going to talk to you about it.
She doesn't put the R in it, and it was driving me nuts. She is just so frustrated. I'm like, oh God, there's an R.
She said it like 6 times.
Please put the R in there.
It was not just a one-timer during the episode. She said it in the car. She said it with Angie.
Yeah. It was very Teresa Giudice of her to mispronounce words like consistently.
And no one really has picked up on that. It's like when people mispronounce library, instead of saying brary, they say library. Don't you? That's like a very common mispronounced word.
You know one that Vince has noticed you say?
What?
You say espresso instead of espresso.
espresso.
Yeah, so
that's like kind of white trash, I think, to say with
just watch out. And tell me if I'm doing ones. I need to know.
At least I'm not Emily with measurements.
Measurements. That was, that's
just like adjust your speech. That's not even cute.
No, she's a lawyer. She's intelligent. She does not think that's how that's pronounced. Like,
right.
There's no way.
Right. Okay, so let's see.
We get Bronwyn at home.
Oh my gosh. Her and her husband. Let's talk about that. I want to unpack that with you for a second. They give me Alex and Simon vibes from Real Housewives of New York. Like super eccentric.
They were at least closer in age. Bronwyn and her husband are way bigger age gap. Yeah.
I mean, he does not look good for 50. I mean, you've already called that out.
I mean, I loved the story that she said when they met. He was hitting on her, but she didn't realize. And she goes, I thought he was going to mentor me at work.
Truly, I would have thought the same thing.
Because I'm sure he was very high up that time.
Jessica,
we've been in the workforce for 30 years.
We would have been on the first date, and I would have still thought that. Like, so what's your professional next 5 years look like? Like, he would have been like, we're on a date.
Yeah. Why are you telling me your career aspirations? But she said that he started off with Palm Pilots. That just shows his age. He was the CEO of that. It was company.
Like, I think there's people watching this show that don't know what a Palm Pilot is.
She even joked. She's like, ask your elders what that is. I was like, oh, shoot, I do know what that is. So how old does that make me?
Yeah. Okay, so I felt like their house was disgusting.
Yeah. I wrote that the sculpture was fugly. It was jagged chairs taped together, and she probably spent $20,000 on it.
And you know she unboxed it on camera just so she could like name drop it.
And she was also like, oh, I've had this for 6 months. Like, oh, I just make these huge purchases, and I don't even remember when they arrive.
I agree. I thought that entire house was giving very Mary Cosby's green carpet.
Someone said we have Mary's house 2.0 in Bronwyn's house.
Yeah. When that stylist or interior designer came in and he kind of called them out, I was like, yes.
Oh, I was about to say, he should be fired, though, if he was their interior designer.
He's like, did we leave any furniture in the showroom? I mean, and then they've also lived there for a year and a half. Like, get it together. You clearly don't have a job, Bronwyn. I always get everyone's name wrong.
Yes. Oh, my God. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I can't get a read on her yet. I can't tell if she is just super showy and is like, I did read someone saying, I normally don't like the brand new housewives that come in and their thing is fashion. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you got to have a little more. You can't just be our high fashion Utah girl. Like, we need more. I mean, her husband, it's an interesting dynamic. We'll see how much he films, though. Yeah. And did you catch I was right that her daughter was a previous relationship?
Yep. Gwen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's like Lisa's Jack's son's age. Right. Or they're friends or something.
Yeah. She was really young when she had him. So Todd's net worth, I looked this up. He's got 24 million in the bank.
That's her husband?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know his name was Todd. Okay.
Santa Claus. I should have referenced him.
Sorry, I would have known who that was.
His net worth is about 24 million. So I don't think she has to work at all. Her net worth is about 1 mil, which I don't know how she made it there, but
just influencer stuff?
Maybe it's her art collection.
She sold off her ugly art collection. Oh my God.
So the other thing that I looked into, because I thought I was like, this doesn't seem right. How she casually drops. First of all, she's a name dropper. Let's just say it like that.
Yes.
She name drops about the sculpture, name drops that Todd held the Olympic torch.
That was the weirdest thing to brag about. And then they cut to him and he looked horrible. I was like, I thought you had to be an athlete to carry that.
Well, I looked this up so I could talk to you about it. So it was the 2012 Olympics. It was in London.
Yeah.
And so part of that theme is they had people carrying the torch in a relay across all the countries.
Oh, okay.
Jessica, 8,000 people were part of that relay. So he was one of 8,000.
Okay.
And what got everyone so mad about it at the time is that there's a lot of executive sponsors that
just paid for their spot.
And he was one of them.
He was the Palm Pilot? Yes. He paid through Palm Pilot?
Palm Pilot paid for sponsorship and they got it. And he held the torch. Because that was like, he's not an athlete. His build does not suggest that.
Well, I was going to say, how much notice were you given that you were going to carry the torch? Because, you should have trained a little. His belly was bigger than current day. Yeah. When they cut to him, I was like, oh, my God.
He looked
Was he able to carry it? How far did he have to carry it?
What did that relay look like? Yeah. Was he running
Are we talking a 100-yard sprint? I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
Well, okay. I like that we're getting, sometimes I feel like the new housewives, they wait till 4 or 5 episodes before you kind of get their family life. So I like that she's coming in sooner.
Well, let's jump to Mei Lee. What is happening with her?
I don't think.
She's got no screen time.
I don't think anything.
She's not in a confessional.
Yeah.
But she was on the promo She was like part of the promo image.
Was she?
Yes.
Okay.
It's so weird. I mean, they must just have edited her out.
Yeah, Angie was on Watch What Happens Live after this most recent episode, and she was asked who of the newbies was your favorite, and Maylee was part of it. And she just said, I love Maylee, but she didn't really get in there. So she even like alludes that like we're barely going to see her. She's not part of any of the drama.
Other than Mary's like weird comments about her.
Why does Mary get away with saying that stuff?
I don't know.
She fat shamed Heather last season when she was like, Gucci doesn't make that big of a size with something Heather wore. And then, Maylee was like coming down that ropes course and she's like, I didn't think Maylee was that big.
Yeah, or she thought she was
like,
thinner.
first of all, Maylee's like a stick, so rude. But
I'm shocked that Mary doesn't get canceled. Like, why are we in such a cancel culture?
Love her.
And she's just like, but she just gets a pass.
I know.
It's like, oh, that's just Mary.
And like, she has a cult church. I don't like, there's a lot going on with her. And she always like is a weird fan favorite. And I really don't like her.
Well, I was reading and I thought this was kind of interesting that I think Bravo's there to catch like the downfall. Like they're trying to.
They know it's going to come out.
Something's going to happen.
Okay.
I mean, her son is doing the most on Instagram with his drugs.
All right.
She's got the cult church going on.
Yeah.
She's divorcing the husband.
Something just broke today or the day before that her and her husband are suing people they had as accountants at the church, claiming that these accountants embezzled $6 million.
I saw that. Her and Robert Sr. are suing?
So I'm like, are they trying to get ahead of something? Because funds have been, what do you want to bet? Those are their personal accountants that were moving money around.
Right.
And again, why on earth does a church have 6.8 million that could be embezzled that you don't notice? Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
But that's a good point. Maybe Bravo is like, we're going to get in there at the beginning and we're going to keep Mary on until we see her go to jail, like Jen Shaw.
I mean, an FBI agent is watching somewhere.
I hope they are. I hope they are.
I feel like
I will celebrate the day Mary gets arrested.
I feel like it expedited the Jen Shaw case when she popped up on a reality TV show because everyone was like, oh, perfect.
Yeah, oh, perfect. Open up your doors and let's see what else you got going on back there that we could never have looked at.
Right.
Needed a search warrant for.
Okay, so then let's see here. We get a little bit of Heather and Whitney. They're shopping for crystals, kind of a throwaway scene.
Yeah.
And then
we also get Meredith doing a science project, pretending she's making bath bombs at home.
Jessica, I mean, that's like, first of all, that son, Brooks, he was kind of saying what we're all thinking, where he's like, you have to be kidding me. You're going to go get bar mitzvahed.
Yes.
And then she's trying to obviously push the line. I'm like, Meredith, I don't think bath bombs should be created on your counter for your...
She was trying to act like, I don't just slap my name on anything. And I was like, let's not act like you're a chemist making these. Like, and you're handing the factory the recipe. Like,
right.
You do jewelry. This isn't... There were really funny, I wish I wrote more of them down that I had seen. There were so many comments about Meredith and her two kids, and people were like, whatever level of prescription like meds they're on, I want it. Like everyone's saying like that they have the lowest energy level of any three people I've ever seen.
They're like, yeah, boss bet.
Yeah. Oh my God. The daughter said so many cringy like taglines. She was like, yes, queen. I was like, oh, stop.
So funny. Let's talk about the bath bombs for 1 second. Did you see what I posted? No one is talking about this, but so Whitney, of course, got mad about the one bath bomb product, or they got into a little fight. I don't think anyone has truly picked up on the fact that that ad that she produced was so shady.
Yeah, like very Meredith coded.
Meredith coded to a T, like on the nose.
That's probably what Meredith's annoyed about, but maybe she didn't want to call it out and just be mad that she was making a bath.
That would make more sense in my mind, to be like, you made a dig at my family.
Like your actual marketing was mean to me.
Was pointed at me. I don't know. I feel like everyone missed that.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see when Meredith finally comes out with this line.
Oh, yeah. 2026. We can get our bath bombs. She's still working on the recipe.
Yeah, right. Brooks is still in the kitchen,
rental kitchen,
adding water. Yeah. Okay, so then we move to Heather and Brittany on pickleball. Brittany is unhinged, Jessica.
She is wild.
So one thing that was super small that I wanted to ask you about. So Brittany's whole vibe the first episode was I grew up poor. And then she was walking in that pickleball court.
Oh,
And she was talking about how her mom built a pickleball court in their backyard.
right. Because the HOA didn't allow it.
I was
I was
like,
like, oh, yeah, real.
There's a variety of things in this
Unless there was a
sentence.
real come up after childhood,
Yeah.
I don't think you were
I'm like-
dirt poor exactly.
There's a variety of things here that is suggesting you weren't storing rolls in your purse, as
Yeah.
you said.
God, like,
Right?
didn't know where your next meal was coming, but you have a pickleball court in your backyard.
Right. She said her mom was a tennis snob. I'm like, that again does not scream,
Right.
you know, I'm scrounging
Oh,
here
I
for
didn't even put
resources.
that together.
Yeah.
I heard her say all that stuff and I totally forgot about her claiming her childhood was so hard.
Also, Heather was saying that she met Brittany through Angie Harrington,
Oh,
which
yeah.
led me through a little bit of a deep dive of what is Angie Harrington up to these days.
Right.
Because, I mean, she was quite good TV.
I
felt
know.
like.
I wish she was still on.
Yeah, she was always very good energy, all of it.
And she was truly ingrained in the group.
Right.
Like they all really did hang out. She wasn't just someone cast.
Right. I think Heather was better friends with Angie Harrington than probably even Whitney.
Yeah.
Right.
And Lisa was good friends with
Right.
Angie, but then whatever.
So I looked online and she's completely made a 180 where her son was actually diagnosed with autism. So she's done a lot with People Magazine, Life and Style or something like that. She was on News Nation speaking about, she's like basically spreading awareness around autism.
Oh, okay.
So she's like completely abandoned the reality TV life
Yeah.
on purpose, she
Yeah.
would claim,
Mhm.
to like go kind of support this cause,
Yeah.
which I thought like, well done, Angie
Yeah,
Harrington, good
good.
pivot. And she's doing well. I mean, she was on the cover of, I think it was Utah Life and Style. So it wasn't the US, but
Are you impressed?
I mean, we're not on the cover.
Right, but okay. Utah Life and Style. Good for her.
Anyway, so back to Brittany, who just is wild to me.
Do you know how she spells her name differently?
Yeah, it's like Brittany.
Yeah. Don't you always want to like second guess how
Yeah.
to say it?
Mhm.
Well, you with names especially.
Yeah, Brittany.
Brittany. Yeah.
She looks different every time she takes a photo.
Yep.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. It's like her intro card looks different. Her in a scene, her in a confessional.
Her with her boyfriend, the celebrity Osmond. I forget his first name.
Maybe that is just a little bit of a different generation thing. And maybe they're more of like these like gods in Utah. But I'm so not impressed. Like when she's like, I'm dating an Osmond. Isn't it a nephew?
Yeah, I thought
He's
it was
something in the family. Like he's not
peripheral.
even.
He's not nuclear family. No,
No.
I agree.
It's
Yeah.
so weird that they're all like impressed by that.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like, I mean, Heather does a good job. So we're through the Mormon awe of everything, right?
Yes,
There's so
yeah.
many Mormon shows out there now.
Right.
There's the new reality TV show, which we've talked about,
Yes.
that unhooks all of the soft swinging and all that.
Yeah.
And Heather is like debunking all of this stuff for us.
Right.
But the one thing that is now new news with the Mormon like faith is the fact that you cannot get into heaven unless you have a husband.
Did I miss that? Was that in this episode?
Jessica, yes. Heather is like constantly spewing this stuff. So
What?
Heather says that based off of celestial law of Mormonism, you can get into heaven if you have a husband. Only if you have a husband. It doesn't matter if you have kids or not, but you can only get in if you have a husband. So
At time of death.
At time of death, yes.
Okay.
So she says that's why Brittany has a strange relationship with her kids, but
'Cause she's
prioritizes the
so
man.
Focused
Yes.
on that.
Isn't that so weird?
Yeah. But also just like you still got time, Brittany. Like pick a different man. When she said they've broken up 16 times and they're in their late 40s or early 50s, like this is like a high school relationship.
It's red flags. Yeah.
Yeah. So embarrassing.
And she's only been single for 8 months, which contributes to that whole, you got to have a man, you got to have a man.
Yeah.
I mean, Jessica, we thought we had pressure growing up.
Jeez. I was never told I wouldn't get it.
Can you imagine the pressure?
Lord.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, well, we got to get to ropes course.
Ropes
this
course.
is where a lot of drama went down.
Yeah, I mean, so Meredith does not do the ropes course. I couldn't figure out what that joke was where she's like, my tennis elbow, because I've been churning too much butter.
You remember they did that like Pioneer Woman Day?
That was
and
like-
she loved like doing the like churning of the butter.
But that was like a year ago. Why?
I know. I think
Was that a joke?
I'm assuming because there's no way she like still has tennis elbow from that. But I think Meredith is like the least sporty. And
Right.
she should have just said, I just had surgery. That would have made a lot more sense why you couldn't be in a harness, like swinging
Right.
above the ground.
Yeah, it felt a little odd.
Just had my lips
excuse.
done.
Yeah, right. Her breast enhancement, whatever she got done there.
Reduction. Yeah.
So they all get up there, including Mary, which this validates Mary is clocked in this season because
She would have
never.
She would have been waiting in the van.
Yeah.
She
wouldn't
never
even
did
gotten
any
out.
of the physical activities previous season.
So clearly a producer had a little talking with her that was like, no,
You're
gonna
going
do
on
it.
the ropes course.
You're going to do it.
You want to be on the show, you're going on the ropes course.
And it seems like they get through all like an eighth of it, and then they all have to get let down.
Code whatever. That was cracking me up. The person on the ground, we have a code. And Meredith's like, you guys are causing codes.
So they all get down, and then they move to eating and drinking, which, I mean, Brittany makes a toast about what her Instagram official relationship.
Now Instagram official, probably after the 16th breakup that they've rekindled.
Yeah. I mean, she's unhinged, Jessica.
Yeah.
She's known these women for a week.
Yeah.
And
well, Heather's claiming
and
a
then
year with her, but.
Right. And then you're making a toast, not to say thank you for, hoping we all can develop our friendships. I'm so happy to be part of this.
She's like,
But
I
to
want
say-
everyone to know that my boyfriend posted an Instagram official photo of us.
Of me.
And then they all look at it and they go, that's not it. They tear her a new one.
It was like, what version of this, what flavor are we going to have a problem with? Mary's like, why do we care about this? Lisa's like, this is not an Instagram official shot. Whitney's like, we've been out to dinner. He seems stringing you along.
Yeah.
Like that balloon got deflated so quick.
Yeah.
With Brittany.
And as much as I don't like Mary, and I do think she's just so rude, she really did say what we were all thinking.
100%.
So I'll give her
I was
that.
like, thank God. Yeah, someone's got to call her out. It was just it was such an unhinged like moment, you know, that she's using the toast to like speak on her relationship.
And yeah, I'm glad she got called out about it. Like that it wasn't just all of them going, yay, cheers. Like it was like, why are we doing this?
Totally.
Yeah.
What did you think? They all kind of called Bronwyn out about her like two-facedness. I felt like it was too soft. I think she's talking out of both sides of her mouth. And it's really early to be doing that now, like forgetting there's cameras around.
Well, I agree. She was kind of playing both sides with Lisa and Whitney.
Mm-hmm.
But then the fact that Whitney wasn't even offended, because Whitney goes, no, she did say that to me. So I kind of feel like Heather trying to like call one out on Bronwyn sort of fell flat.
See, I think Whitney needs allies this season, so she's not going to allow.
That wasn't going to bother her.
Yes.
She was okay.
Let
with
that one slide, move that one on, because if
Yeah.
she's going to be feisty with someone, it's going to be Heather over Bronwyn. So she wants that she wants to keep that kosher, keep that neutral.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they're all still deciding
what their alliances are going to be.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And I feel like Lisa was trying to get words in, and they just turned down her mic during that whole experience.
Good. She was still talking about Whitney on the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, you are a broken record. Like, let's drop what Whitney said. And they even showed like the clip, like she said 2 sentences about Lisa on an hour-long podcast.
Jessica, it was 2. I listened to the whole thing. It was 2 hours long. It was so little that was actually devoted to Lisa.
Right. But she just
kept on
dog
going.
with a bone.
Yeah,
she will not let that one go.
So then next episode, they're going to Milwaukee.
Woohoo!
We're from Milwaukee.
Yes, I'm excited to see it. I know we saw clips of all the places they were. We know they go to a Bucks game.
Yep. They go to
they definitely go to that drag bar.
What is that drag queen's name again?
Oh,
Trixie.
went to Trixie, the
Mattel.
Trixie Motel in Palm Springs.
Yeah. Trixie Mattel, her gay bar is called This Is It.
Oh,
I researched it.
Okay.
It's an older gay bar in Milwaukee, very iconic.
All right.
But Jessica, we've been to Milwaukee in the winter. Like, this is not going to be super interesting. Let's just say it.
There's a clip of Mary trying to enter the hotel with all these bags. I think they're staying at the Kimpton.
Yes, they are. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yep.
And they're at the Bucks game. I mean, this is not, and the Bucks game is empty.
Oh no! But they're like, we got courtside.
Yeah, we're courtside.
Like nobody's in the game, so
like, well, the 4 rows behind you are empty. But
I'm curious, like, it's just going to be so interesting to me. Like, where do they go to the dinners? They always kind of say the name of restaurants because clearly they have to get people to agree to allow them to film.
Right.
So they give places like a shout out.
Yeah.
Hotels always get a big shout out. Remember we were laughing at Vanderpump when they were in San Francisco. Everyone was wearing like the t-shirt of the hotel and the robes. And they're like, it's so nice of the da-da-da-da to allow us. And you're like, oh my God, how many times did they have to say it?
Yeah, Milwaukee's going to cash in on all that.
But yeah, middle of winter, a little rough, but let's see.
We'll see.
We'll see if it drives tourism.
Anything else on Real Housewives of Salt Lake?
No, but just, do you think Milwaukee gets a two episode arc?
I don't think Milwaukee deserves a 2-episode arc.
Lauren, you're such a hater.
Yeah.
That's where we're from. We gotta rep Milwaukee.
I mean, they flew up there in a private plane. You see that?
Oh,
I don't even know where that would land.
Mitchell Airport.
No, Jessica, that's not a private. That's not.
You can land. Yeah, they for sure have little. I've seen tiny. I mean, they have those tiny planes that like go between Chicago and Milwaukee. Land at Mitchell.
Okay.
They'll land at Mitchell. I'll bet money on it.
Well, I'll learn something about Milwaukee.
All right, let's see.
All right, so Real Housewives of OC is next.
Yes, and who gets the intro scene?
Who gets it?
Terry and Heather again.
Terry's getting a nose.
We just talked about his nose.
We talked about that face needed to change.
I haven't noticed a recent photo of him though. Did he? He must not have gone too drastic.
No, I don't think so, because they even showed the after, and I couldn't really tell a difference.
And what did you think that he did not have it done by his like partner in crime? Like,
what's that guy's name? Paul Nassif.
Nassif or something.
Nassif, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, talk about if you want a recommendation. Who does a plastic surgeon get their plastic surgery work done by? Like, that's the guy I'd want to go to. The guy who did his nose job.
Right. And Paul, I think, is known for that because he himself has had a lot done on his nose.
I mean, Terry made multiple comments like, Paul's going to be pissed.
Yeah.
I didn't go to him. So it's like, so why didn't you?
Right.
You obviously think this other guy's better.
We do see a little bit of a sliver of Heather's veneer when she's like hot mic'd caught.
Loved that.
I thought that was interesting.
Yep.
She's like, that's not how I want to look on camera.
Yeah, she's like, stop admonishing me.
I wonder how much the editors have to actually cut out of when they acknowledge the cameras. You know, I do think Housewives has gotten so big that I don't think it's something they talk about, right? Like, that's not how I want to look on camera.
Yeah, they break the third wall constantly now. Yeah.
But to me, they left that in to be shady to Heather.
Yes. And I liked it because Heather does try to overproduce it. She wants to show this perfect family, and it's like, no, be real. So I love they kept like a little bickering between the two. It wasn't even that bad, but like,
no.
Finally, we didn't see this like lovey-dovey like scene with the two of them.
Yeah, so forced. I agree. We cut to a few more little things. So Ryan and Jen go shopping. his fashion sense is horrible.
Yeah, I mean, Jen even said there's no changing it, so she's just come to terms with it.
It's like Ed Hardy. Do you remember that?
Yes. Brand? Yeah, he rocked Ed Hardy for sure back in the day. The like bejeweled everything.
Yeah. And then we have this weird moment where it's Shannon is butt dialing Heather on the lawsuit.
Tamara.
Oh, yeah.
Butt dialing Tamara.
Yep. Excuse me. Do you think that was real?
I think it was. And Tamara could not keep the glee off her face.
That she got butt dialed.
That she got butt dialed and that Shannon was getting sued and it was out in the press. Tamara is horrible. She like loves the downfall of others.
Yeah, she's getting. I mean, people are hating on her.
Yeah, she's
big time.
She is getting so much hate.
Yeah,
but I know. I wonder. I mean, I do think Bravo will keep her around. I don't think she's gonna get the boot just because of this. They'll keep her because she's so disliked now.
Yeah,
and then people have been saying like, let's bring Gretchen and Vicky back for a Tamara takedown.
Did you see what I posted?
That they went to dinner.
Oh, God.
I mean, so obvious.
So obvious. It was Jen and Katie, and they had gone to dinner with Gretchen.
Right.
And they were posting about it.
And I thought Katie was trying to kind of stay neutral, but she just clearly did not stay neutral by going to dinner with Gretchen.
Well, I think that Katie gets pulled into situations maybe she's not always aware of like what's exactly happening.
She claims. Or she's trying to secure season two for her. So she's like, okay, I'll be part of this mess.
Okay, so we cut to Gina making meatballs for her ex. One thing I wanted to tell you, because I did some research on this, So Gina's whole storyline is her and
Yes.
Travis
Yeah.
are not doing well, and Travis
Right.
has moved out due to
A
Travis's
crazy
ex.
ex-wife.
Yes.
Yeah.
So originally, I talked about how the ex-wife was posting on social media that Travis wouldn't sign the papers.
Yeah.
But now I've found out more on Reddit, of course, that Travis actually had to
Reddit.
put a temporary restraining order against that ex, and he also instituted random drug testing for her
Oh, okay.
because I think she was doing a lot of prescription pills when they had broken up.
Okay.
So he could call her at any point and ask for a drug test. Within 6 hours, she has to take it. So all of that, I was like, oh, that's a little different story
And
than
for all that to be granted,
Mhm.
there's
right.
like he was able to prove that she was not in a sound state when she was watching their kids or something.
Yeah, that's what Reddit was saying, that it's really hard in California for the kids to go to the husband. Usually they go directly to the mom.
Right.
And then they also signed something, and this is why we don't get much from Gina in terms of like what's happening with them, that neither Travis nor Gina could disparage her. So probably similar to what Shannon wants John to
She
sign.
better be careful then. That scene, she was like getting
I agree.
a little.
I agree.
Maybe that hadn't been signed yet, like with the timing when they filmed this.
It was on the edge though. Like if
Yeah.
I was that ex, I'd be like,
You're towing the line. That's a little disparagement.
kind of what waded into making some mean comments about me. Yep. Okay, so I mean, it's like a lot of like catching up. I mean, Real Housewives of OC really does not have a ton going on.
It's the dinner party.
It's the dinner party. That's the big elephant in the room here. So, Katie is the dinner party. I had like trauma because Katie's introducing her husband Matt to these people for the first time.
Yeah.
I just had, and it felt like, you know, when you introduce your husband to like your college friends and they're like all very rowdy and horrible, and you're like,
oh, and you're just like embarrassed.
You're like, this is my friend's your husband. I felt so bad for him. There
were so many posts where everyone was like, save that pure innocent man, Matt, at the end of the table.
Felt the
like they kept
same
cutting
way.
him, and he was just like, what is going on at my house?
Because I don't think he was not just hosting a dinner party, he was hosting a very pivotal part of the season.
Right.
And she clearly did not brief him well at all.
No, she really glossed over the fact that Eddie and Ryan despise each other.
Right.
And had not seen each other in like a year.
Right.
Face to face.
And so again, we see that Ryan has talked about Eddie on a podcast. They played the podcast 5 or 6 times, I felt like. And there was nothing. It was very little.
Yet again, I was like, Tamara with like saying the stuff you said, and I love, let's just play what he said.
Yeah.
Didn't say that, Tamara.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
She's acting like he came for blood, and it was like he referenced a few things. Did you even catch that the podcast host was the one who kind of went in on her son?
Yes.
And he was like, I'm not going to talk about that.
He goes, I can't speak about what goes on like in people's homes. And it was the podcaster that went so hard on why she like has a bad relationship with her daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that all got blamed on Ryan. And he totally was very PC about it.
Yeah. I'm just like, what are we doing here, guys? All these podcast references, they're not that bad. So one thing I thought was so funny. So Ryan is also dealing with a lawsuit. And did you catch when he was talking to Matt, and Matt was saying, hey, what's your job?
What do you do?
The Bravo cameras zoomed in so tight on that.
Yeah.
It's like, because that FBI agent's watching him in the back.
They're like, we've only heard Jen try to explain what her boyfriend does. Let's hear Ryan. And it was pretty similar to how Jen explained it. It was like a horrible way to explain
like
what
a monologue that kind of went on for too long.
And then I with COVID, I started working from home, and I'm in the mortgage industry. And
like they did not cut at all. They're like, we need this fully unblemished for the court of law when he goes in there and he has to try and describe
when we get served for footage, we can hand this over. Yeah.
So Eddie really had like a odd couple of moments during this whole thing.
Yeah.
First of all, he walks up to Matt and says, stop serving Tamara alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean, if my husband, first of all, why wouldn't he be saying that to Tamara?
Yeah. That's
if my husband did that at a dinner party, I would be like,
did you know Eddie said he's like, I don't drink.
Yeah, I didn't.
I mean, I knew he was such like a health buff, but I did not realize he was sober. And then that sort of made more sense that maybe Tamara is getting rowdier at these like women's night out because when she's with Eddie, she's probably really not drinking.
Like one beer, yeah.
Yeah, or just like having.
He's so
one
boring. I
glass.
mean, it makes sense that he doesn't drink. Just
But
kidding.
like, yeah, but he came across so strangely. Yeah, telling Matt not to serve. They did a few things of her sipping her martini, and they like cut to Eddie like giving her like side eye.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he does have a problem with it, which is then so ironic that Tamara is calling Shannon out for her alcohol troubles.
Well, and then so she clearly gets way too drunk. I thought it was so funny. I mean, so many memes online that his face in the background,
Yes.
he's like looking off in the distance, Jessica.
Yeah.
It's
he
like-
wouldn't even look at
No.
Ryan during that whole convo.
No, or her. He
Yeah.
just is trying to tell her to stop. I mean, that was quite revealing in my mind.
I know.
So one of the things, did you watch What Happens Live with her?
Yeah. Yeah.
So she went on Watch What Happens Live. You probably know this better. I only saw clips. She had a few comments that were like very disparaging
About
of Ryan.
Ryan. Yep.
He then serves her
Yep.
like some sort of slander suit.
Yep. So she was going hard on him, going, and you said Eddie doesn't work well. And then she said her two companies, whatever, the cannabis company and whatever else they have. She's like, well, those two businesses, Ryan, make more money in a month than you stole from that Dodger player.
Which, by the way, that's totally false because
Right.
he stole like 17 million from that Dodger player. You can't
Okay,
tell me
well-
that the businesses make that much money, Jessica.
Yeah, that is very correct. But it's also the problem is that Ryan didn't steal the money from
Right.
the Dodger player. It was like that
He washed
interpreter.
it.
Yeah, the
He washed it.
interpreter stole it,
Right.
gave it to a buddy of Ryan's, and Ryan was like part of the gambling.
Right. That
And
washed
as we
it.
said,
Mhm.
Ryan is in the perfect position to just give all the testimony and walk.
Snitch and walk
He's
away.
the lowest on
Yeah.
the totem pole for the FBI. They're going to go after the interpreter and then the guy who was the buddy of the interpreter.
The kind of mobster who
Yeah.
took it to
So,
Vegas
I
and
mean-
washed it. Right. I
But,
totally agree.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to snitch him out, but
So then she went on Instagram Live after Watch What Happens Live.
and
after
apologized
she,
right
and
away.
apologized, yes.
She knew.
And the one thing that she said, I mean, she's trying to backtrack the whole Ryan thing, but she also said that I haven't gotten, it's not that she has stopped drinking since that night. It's just that she hasn't gotten wasted since that night, which is just like, God, Tamara, I mean, how can you
Okay,
be
so
calling out?
neither has Shannon. So, like,
Right.
leave Shannon alone.
Right. I totally agree. It's
Yeah.
like, how can you be calling out her and you're saying the same thing?
Yeah, she got asked about that on Watch What Happens Live, where they're like, a fan question was like, Tamara, don't you think it's a little hypocritical that you clearly were quite intoxicated at this party and you're calling out Shannon? And she's like, there's a difference between like drinking a little too much one night and having an alcohol problem. So she's claiming Shannon has, is an alcoholic, but whatever. But my favorite part was Tamara storming out on her own. Did you catch like the final scene?
Yeah. Did she leave Eddie because she was pissed at him?
I don't know if she was pissed or she just wanted to make a point, but like the fact that Eddie didn't even go after her.
Yeah.
But she's like messing around with the gate. She couldn't get Katie's gate open. She gets it open and then there's a step and she trips.
Oh, she did?
Did you?
No, I didn't see
I
any of this.
replayed it 3 times. She tripped and her purse fell
Oh
all
my
over the ground.
God.
And she's like, is there a car out here for me? And I was like, you're a hot mess. And I just love that.
And the cameras are
camera's
shading you.
getting it
usually.
all. Yeah. Oh, rewatch her falling. It
Oh my
cracked
gosh.
me up.
The last thing I'll say on the lawsuit, did you know that it's the same lawyer that Jim Bellino
Yeah.
used? Very
That
funny.
was intentional. I mean, of all of the lawyers you could hire,
Yeah.
that he found the same one that had already sued Tamara.
Well, he knows the guy can win.
The guy won. Yeah.
For 300,000 or whatever.
They said it was $1 million
Oh, really?
that she had to pay.
Ooh, Tamara.
You'd think you'd be a little more careful with your words.
Yeah.
If you had lost
$1
a
million.
defamation
Yeah.
$1 million lawsuit previously. And then
That's
she goes
huge.
on live TV and says something that she shouldn't.
So we don't see Shannon at all during really any of this.
I know. Other than her just sad little night at home with Archie.
I know. It's really sad. But some Bravo in the headlines for you.
Oh,
So
I know what you're going to talk about.
Joel Kim Booster. I don't know who that is, but all of
He's-
Gen Z knows
Yeah.
him.
No, I know. He was in, there was that movie about Fire Island. he was in.
Oh,
Do
okay.
you remember that one? It came out like 2 summers ago.
The documentary? on it?
No. It's acting. It had Bowen Yang from SNL in it.
Mm.
The guy he does the podcast with,
Mm-hmm.
Matt something. Anyway.
So he's a big influencer. I didn't really
Yeah.
know him, but he's hosting a show called Hotel Housewives,
Mm-hmm.
which Shannon is on.
Yep.
I believe it's a show about how housewives find love, which should be interesting.
It's some of the single ladies.
And he posted a bunch of stuff about Shannon and how horrible she was,
Like, horrible.
which to me is not shocking. I'm
No.
like, makes sense.
People have always said she's been horrible to
Yeah.
crew and anyone she deems beneath her.
I mean, I'm posting a lot about Shannon on our Instagram page, and people are mad that I'm posting about her. And I'm like, when did it flip so hard for her?
Oh, because people are pitying her?
Yes.
Like, they're like, oh, don't say
Like,
that
leave her
about
alone.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. We've had a couple comments.
Leave Brittany alone.
Anyway,
Weird.
I think it
No,
will come out.
Yeah.
Um,
But how, like, think of how intense that if they just finished filming, he is the host of that
Mhm.
show. Granted, he's also getting great publicity for said show coming out with this, but he went so hard
Mhm.
into like the behind the scenes. So everyone's saying, imagine how horrible she had to be acting
mhm.
that this guy like could not contain keeping
Mhm.
that to himself.
And then he got asked to take it down. Did you
Yeah.
see that? Who would have asked him? Bravo?
Yeah, the network.
Uh,
I'm sure we're like, do not be putting this out there. But like I said, great publicity. Better believe we're watching Hotel California or Housewives.
Housewives, Jessica.
Hotel California.
we're watching
yeah,
that.
That's a different thing.
Anyway, so good.
Yeah.
Everything's good.
There's been a lot of Bravo in the headlines this week.
Anything else? What do you?
No,
what-
just I'm thinking of like the lawsuit bombshells, the Shannon Bedore stuff.
We've covered it. Yeah. I mean, I can't wait. Real Housewives of New York starts
York.
this week.
It's either Tuesday or Wednesday.
Okay. I mean, they got to bring it with these other two going on.
Oh, speaking of in the headlines, did you see Rebecca Minkoff is new, the designer this year?
Yeah.
She was doing press for it, and how stupid is she? In the press, she said, I went up to Jenna and was like, Jenna, wouldn't it be funny if like one of our things was that we were fighting over fashion?
I saw that.
And Jenna was like, no, because that's not real. I'm like, why are you admitting to coming on and like trying to fabricate storylines
Yeah.
before the show comes out?
Already. It's like,
Everyone was already like, get her out of here.
yeah. I would have just.
So
We like to think it's
dumb.
real.
We like to pretend it's very real.
We like to think the authentic.
Don't ruin that for me.
Love it. Okay, so we move to the next segment, which is what are the kids talking about these days? Gen Z, baby.
Yes. Okay. Do you remember the term conscious uncoupling?
Yeah.
That got
Vaguely.
it was Gwyneth Paltrow and Chris Martin when they got divorced.
Okay.
Really small side story. There was a therapist they worked with, and she was the one that I guess they went to when they were having trouble. And she then came up when they decided to divorce. She came up with that term, conscious uncoupling, instead of just saying we're getting divorced. So just like a way nicer way of putting it, I guess. She worked or knew the CEO of the company I used to work at, and they were letting us do 30-minute like career things. So I had like a little 30-minute career session with that therapist lady
really?
that did the Gwyneth Paltrow thing.
That branded conscious
Yes.
uncoupling.
She's this British woman, and I had like nothing to talk to her about, but I just wanted to like have a session so I could say I'd like met her. I forget her name, but she was nice. I don't remember what like she told me to work on for my career, but why I say that is because Gen Z has come out with something called conscious unbossing. They are refusing to become middle managers.
God, they're such assholes.
I knew you'd have an eye roll. I was waiting for it. Yeah, they're just saying they would much rather just be like high level individual contributors because that level of kind of progressing in your career to sort of get to that next step is just so much effort, no reward, having to manage a few people, having your own workload. So they're just refusing to. But I'm like, okay, what does that sometimes you just got to do that step to move up. So are we just going to have 60-year-old individual contributor Gen Zers in the next like 40 years, you know?
I do think that's a big thing in tech that like my husband is an individual contributor and he does not necessarily want to move into management.
Yeah.
But I don't know how that would work in most corporate jobs.
Right. I know. I'm like thinking, I don't know how that would
And did they deny the promotion then? It's like, oh, thanks, but I want to stay where I am.
Exactly. Unless you're in a role, like I know with sales, that's really common because if you can just make your commission, why add the stress of managing people who are also working towards commission and then almost take away from your own time trying to focus on sales where you're making a commission? But people that are salaried, are you really turning down like the 40K bump to be a manager and you just want to stay at your role where you have no other earning potential?
Yeah, right. No one likes managing. Come on, Gen Z.
Well, I know. Just tell me if you have a Gen Zer that you try to promote. They refuse
like,
the promotion.
Actually, I have read an article recently, which I thought you were going to bring this up, that Gen Z is getting fired a lot more. They're quiet quitting. They're
They're conscious unbossing.
Yes, it's just catching up to them, maybe in a variety of ways.
So that's with the job market the way it is. It's all Gen Zers that are getting let go from their entry level jobs.
Makes me feel a little bad for them.
Well, no, not if you're gonna act like that. Get with it. Like we talked about, what was code switching or whatever, where they said millennials and all the other generations have just had to do that.
Right.
We just get with the program. We figure out what the corporate atmosphere is and we just go with it, where they just refuse to. They just put their foot down. So it's like, I guess companies are like, well, then get out if you're not going to get with the program here.
Right.
So let's not feel too bad for them.
All right. Well, maybe one day we'll feel bad for them.
Yeah.
All right. So next up, we're going to do conspiracy theories.
All right.
So conspiracy theory number 1 tonight is, have you heard that the sun is not real?
No.
Jessica, I love talking to you about these because
I have almost never heard of them.
It's like
clearly your algorithm
it's
gives
bumping.
you different stuff
than
than mine does. So
all right, so there's a couple of things of why they think the sun is not real. One is that there's a farmer who was talking about how sunflowers no longer face the sun. Oh. So sunflowers have something in it called heliotropism, which means their face like follows the sun. Yeah. And so he was posting this video online about how the sunflowers no longer follow the sun, which he validates by having this huge field of sunflowers and all of them are facing away from the sun.
And they used to. Like, is he claiming they used to or they
used
never
to follow the sun and now they don't anymore?
So we actually maybe got rid of the sun at some point. They used to follow it.
And he claims his videos got taken down, but that's his big thing that's happening. Now, I did read the comments and say past a certain age range, the sunflowers stop following the sun. So that might have been debunked almost immediately. But there's another video out there that is a farmer in Georgia, and he is showing a video of a tomato. So a tomato that's like out in his field. Yeah. And it's fully cooked, basically. You know how like when you put a tomato into a frying pan? Yeah. And it gets like mushy and kind of hard.
And like, yeah.
And so he said, if you believe him, yesterday the tomato was fine, and then he comes back to the tomato today, and it's kind of mushy, and it looks as though it's been singed. And his claim is that the sun basically overcooked the tomato, like
just one.
Yes, but
on the vine
as an example of like the sun is doing weird stuff.
Okay.
And there's like a black spot on it, like it would be equivalent if you put it into a frying pan. Okay. But it's hooked to the vine. So the conspiracy theorists have linked that basically the sun is not real to China. And there's an article.
Should have known China was behind it.
Okay. China in January 2024 has basically launched what's something called a fusion consortium to build an artificial sun. And this is in the news. This is from Nuclear Newswire. The conspiracists are saying that basically China has launched this whole endeavor to produce a fake sun.
Okay.
Which others know about. It's not a secret that they're doing it.
They're working on that.
And basically they want to produce like a clean burning nuclear fission kind of sun-like being that produces the same level of heat. And then obviously there's videos of them launching this sun up into the sky.
I'll have to watch those videos.
They think that nuclear fission burns really clean, so that's why they're like endeavoring on this. And their goal is to build the first prototype by 2035. So the launching video is probably fake of them launching a sun up into the sky.
How big are we talking?
I think it's big.
Okay.
It's like supposed to be like a fake sun. And so everyone's saying the sun is not real anymore, and therefore they think it's being manufactured.
Yeah. Well, remember, God, was it just our last podcast that you talked about the buying of sunlight?
Yeah.
People are really the solar system and all this stuff. Like we were saying, like who regulates this?
I know.
Who's
right?
in charge of outer space? I don't get it.
Yeah, and another reason
Space
to
Force.
be like worried about things. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. I mean, China's always up to something.
Gotta watch him. Okay, so then conspiracy theory number 2 is obviously the Diddy of it all.
Oh my God. Yes.
So I've gone down some wormholes.
Oh God. You're
there's
gonna
a
get on a
variety-
watch list, Lauren. Be careful.
There's a variety of things you can talk about today. Let's just say it. The one I'm focused in on is Jennifer Lopez and how she's connected.
Yes.
Because this is very troublesome. You know, Jennifer Lopez was like a childhood icon for me.
Kind of.
Just,
I do remember
She had the
asking
big
for her
butt.
CD
she had the big butt before
on
the
the
big butt.
6th. I remember asking for that, like for Christmas one year. Okay,
She had-
fine. I guess I
she
liked her.
was the Kim Kardashian before Kim Kardashian had that
that's
booty.
true.
Okay, so she and Diddy, for some reason, like she's being really intertwined and connected into all this.
Well, yeah, they were engaged.
They were. So they
Yeah.
met in 1999 on the music set of her music video "If You Had My Love."
Oh, I love that song.
That's what I'm saying. She was a big deal.
Yeah.
Okay, so the big thing that happened to her in 1999 is Diddy and her went to a club,
And there was a shooting.
a shooting.
Yes.
And Diddy basically got into an argument with, I think, a drug dealer and then shot. And this woman who's just an innocent bystander got in the way of the shooting. And so she took the bullet in her face. Now she survived it.
In the face?
Yes, in the face.
Oh
Oh,
my
it gets
God.
weirder.
Okay.
So Jennifer Lopez was there.
Yeah.
Then they get into a car. They have a police chase. They get pulled over.
Yeah.
And there's a fall guy that takes kind of the whole brunt of all of the incident. And
Yeah.
his name was Shine, a rapper named Shine. So he served 10 years in prison.
Okay.
Now, so first kind of layer of this is that Jennifer Lopez had the gun in her purse and she was the one that passed the gun to Diddy.
Mm.
And then there's also like a little bit of a story where she threw the gun out the window as well when the police were coming up to her. But needless to say, she was not touched in that.
Yeah.
Like
she
the
just
whole-
got
whole
away with
incident.
everything.
Also, side note, the victim, her name is Natanya Rubin, claims that Diddy did shoot her in the face and she was willing to have kind of the fragments of the bullet that was still lodged in her face removed so they could test it and bring him down. But that's a side note to all of this.
Okay.
So conspiracy theory number 1 is that Little Rod suggested, who used to be an administrative assistant of Diddy, that J-Lo hid the gun in her pocketbook and passed the weapon
her
to Diddy.
pocketbook?
I know, sorry. Yeah, that was a really old reference. I don't know why I said her purse.
I don't know if J-Lo had a pocketbook at the club, but okay.
So you're past the statute of limitations at this point on that
Yeah.
incident. But what you're not past is that she committed potentially perjury under law.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry,
Under oath.
Under oath, thank
Yeah.
you. And that apparently does not ever run out. So that's kind of area number 1 of like, can they really dig this back up and
Yeah.
make her accountable for her part in this?
Okay.
Then the second kind of conspiracy of it all is that Jaguar Wright. Do you remember me talking about this woman?
Yes. Wait. What was
She's a backup dancer for the
that?
Roots.
Was when we talked about Michael Jackson, right?
Yes, Beyonce,
Overdose?
everything. This
Yeah.
guy, I don't know. This woman is very. You couldn't pick her out of a crowd. She knows everything what's going on, and she keeps putting up videos.
But is she a reliable source?
Well,
Like, does she have proof she actually like partied with all these people?
I mean, she names names. Some of what she said has been true. It's very odd.
Okay.
I'm like, how has this woman been around so much? We can't pick her out of her crowd,
Right.
and she knows all of this.
Okay.
So she said conspiracy theory number 2 with J-Lo is that basically she married Ben Affleck the first time to take the limelight off of her. I think they
got engaged.
Engaged.
Yeah.
Yeah. So not married, but
Pulled it
engaged.
off. Yeah.
And her producer, Benny Medea, at the time kind of basically set her up with Ben Affleck to get her out
Be
of
in a
the Diddy of
big
it all.
high profile
Yes.
relationship. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Jaguar Wright claims that she did marry him now the second time because
She knew stuff was coming
out.
back.
Yeah.
But now they're getting divorced.
Right. So unclear why that is happening. I don't know if you know this, but J-Lo was the one that actually filed for divorce.
Yeah.
So, everyone is saying, oh, Ben knew that.
Ben just found out or something about what she knew. Yeah.
I don't know. So, and then they're saying Ben is aware of the tapes and now divorcing her because of it. What Jaguar Wright did say about the whole Diddy situation is that he's going to start snitching, Diddy will, from jail to just try and save himself in any sort of way. And so J-Lo is going to go down in all of this, either due to the, her involvement with the shooting at the club or something in the videos, which we will not know.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it's all wrapped in.
Okay.
And the conspiracy theorists are all over it of like, she's been in the mix for way too long and now she's got to come down. Okay. So that's it. Now there's a bunch of other celebrities associated with Diddy that we could go.
Many.
Ashton Kutcher, another one.
It's a big one.
Yeah. But anyway, we'll just leave it there for now. I think J-Lo's a heartbreaker for me because I do think she had a special spot in our lives growing up in the 90s.
I agree, but I've heard with like Dumois, the celebrity account, I've heard a lot of stuff that she's a really horrible person.
Oh, really?
So I don't feel too bad. Yeah. People have said she's such a diva and so rude to people on sets and stuff. So I don't feel like too bad. I don't think she's like this golden girl.
Well, and it's so funny. Jaguar Wright like just has all these like mic drop moments. She was saying that every man cannot stand J-Lo that she dates, which is why they all break up with her, except for Diddy, that he was the one that whines about how much he loved her.
Yeah.
And why did he screw it up? Oh. And she said, so basically, no man wants you except for the devil. So you're perfect for the devil. I was like, well, that's a way to put it out there.
One, yeah. And there's no way, like, if he truly has been doing all this, like, his entire career, I'm sorry, how are you engaged to him and, like, have no idea that this stuff is going on? So if you witnessed and saw some of this and just
you were part of it, you kind of put you under, oath said that the other guy was rapper Shine was the one who did it all.
I know. Put an innocent person away, like so horrible.
Anyway, so those are the two conspiracy theories.
I think there'll be a lot more to discuss in the coming weeks as more comes out about that.
You gotta keep your endurance on it.
Yeah.
You could really just go down too far in one direction on all of it. And it's dark. You can only stomach so much of it.
True.
Yeah. Anyway, great talking to you, Jess.
Yeah, you too, Lauren.
That's it. Bye.